speak basketball.
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Kyle Lowry. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, good sir, are you?
Once again, checking my LinkedIn, and it says producer of the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. How you doing, Fred?
I'm doing great, buoyed by the fact that you are regularly checking your LinkedIn.
I actually don't even have a LinkedIn, but you know, it's fun to pretend, isn't it? I don't think people in our profession have LinkedIns usually.
No, it's good to pretend. The Raptors are 6-1, hot start,
6-1,
just like we thought. First in the conference, and honestly, things are shaping up well for Giannis.
Yeah.
No, the opposite, I think, is true.
Been a bit of a rough start for me. Haven't seen this before. I heard about it. I heard about this like Bargnani guy. I heard about like some like what was another really tough little era?
Joey Graham. Always say Calderon.
Calderon,
Childs. Well, that was kind of a good era. But yeah, there's a lot.
But hey, we're not entering into that kind of era. We're just getting a little tease that's like, you know what? It could get bad, but this team honestly, the skill's too good for us to even start thinking about the draft lottery. Okay.
I agree. But Matt, I want to say, from the bottom of my heart, welcome to a more full fan experience where, as we say on the pod, we're looking for wins and silver linings.
Yeah.
So it's not just wins we're looking for anymore.
You know what? I haven't missed a game yet. That's a big deal. They're obviously struggling and stuff. And that's how I know. I think I've just become more and more of a hardcore Raptors fan.
That's right. And wait till we get good again. You really feel it when you're there. If you're there when they lose, you feel it when they win. Trust me.
When we get that little piece to add,
seeing Pascal, get angry and dunk against Boston, I was like, something's happening, and something is happening.
Yeah.
But Matt, let's give people the goods.
Yeah.
If people want to follow us, help us out. Buy itch-free toque, for instance.
Oh my gosh.
How can they do all those things?
There's all these different ways you can get to these fantastic links. If you're on our Instagram, click the link in our bio and it gives you a whole list of fun that you can click on, or you can just go right to dunkspodcast.com. We've got everything you can click there too. We've got the Sonar Network, which is the podcast network that we are a part of and that we care about very much. Go to the sonarnetwork.com. You can listen to us there, and you can also see all these other great podcasts you can also listen to. And, go on those podcatchers, Apple, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Player FM. Freddy's our one hit we get on the Player FM. So if you want to subscribe and write a nice little review, thank you to those who have. We've got a nice little, group of reviews now, and it really helps us because, we've been doing this a long time, and that's how you get your skin in the game, as they say. And other than that, we do, it's getting colder and colder, and, you can still risk it a little bit going out there without a toque on, but eventually your ears are going to fall off. So you need an anti-itch toque. Mm-hmm. We've got them on our Shopify. Order one. We'll mail them to you. Snail mail. Real easy.
Matt, you are an absolute professional. And let me say cheers to you for referring to our links as fantastic. They are fantastic links. They will take you exactly where they say they're going to, and that's a promise.
Yeah, they do not lead you astray. Our links, they're solid.
No, it's not. You're not clicking on our Patreon and getting brought to Silk Road.
Yeah,
we're not trying to do that to you, okay? But Matt, if people want to help out, we do have our Patreon, right?
We do have a Patreon. And we're going to start doing a lot more exclusive content for Patreon. But in the meantime, you can get the episodes the day that we record. You get it before anywhere else on the Patreon. And as well, we've got some other tiers with some other stuff that you will get as a bonus as well. And it's all worth it, folks. So you really got to check out the Patreon. Chip in what you can. We really appreciate it. And then, we can start to, use this StreamYard professional feed, maybe put a little money into that. Because check out the YouTube now. We do have a little bit of a different kind of show.
Things are happening.
I'm doing a lot of people's court directing now for the YouTube video of the episode.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you're gonna want to check that shit out.
A lot of quote jokes. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
I'm digging them. And I think before we get this pod rolling, we got to touch on the fairly horrifying events of yesterday. The Capitol of the U.S. Congress was taken over by a mob of pro-Trump terrorists, and it was a pretty terrifying and traumatizing sight. And I think what I want to touch on is the kind of awful disparity that was just too obvious to see how these white terrorists were treated when, the Black Lives Matter protesters or people, fighting for good, real, meaningful things were treated. And so it's just another big kind of example of inequality. And for Canadians who are, navel gazing or doing any angel complex stuff, please just remember that, racism is bred, it's cultivated, it's something that is taught, and it's something that is kind of, it grows when we look the other way. So when Aaron O'Toole says, it's nurtured. When Aaron O'Toole says, I'm going to take Canada back, he knows who he wants to take it back from. So if you pretend that is some fictional, unreal person, you're contributing to the problem. So don't do that. Email your city councilor, defund the police, and Black Lives Matter. And I think we're good to get this pod rolling. Matt, if you feel like we're good to go, please, sir, just give me those sweet words. Okay. So let's bring on guest number one. It's gonna be a heavy episode, maybe not. I don't even know why I led in with that. How about it's gonna be an episode that I can't guess yet? How about that? But guest number one is a very good friend of mine. He's a comedian. He's hilarious. He does stand-up, sketch, improv. He's a master on Twitch. Big numbers on his Twitch, like huge amounts of followers and stuff. He can dunk in real life. He's the host of CBC's Canada's Baking Show, which I accidentally called the British Bake Off once. But hey, here we are. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Alan Shane Lewis.
My music. Thank you so much. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Happy to have you. Did not mean to undermine your Twitch followers.
No, my Twitch followers undermine itself, baby. It's all good. I've been saying baby a lot too. I don't know why I keep saying it.
Let the babies roll. I think like if it's like a fun, if it's not like there's no seediness in the baby, it's like hey, baby, like to like a couch or whatever. You're good.
Yeah, I think I've been watching too much Seinfeld. I think that's what's happening. I'm just becoming George Costanza. It can move, baby.
Yeah, I like the excitement, babies.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring on guest number two. She's amazing. She's an incredible basketball writer. We briefly worked together once at a mutual kind of part-time job, which was fun. So I got to see her occasionally. She writes for Uprock. She's written for the Raptors, Yahoo. She's done a bunch of big, crazy, amazing interviews like Siakam, Becky Hammon, I think Stan Van Gundy. like this is a big time guest for us, and we're always super excited to have her. She is the queen of basketball feelings. Give it up for Katie Heindl. Hello.
Hi, I love my song. I always just get carried away by my song.
It's a good bouncy atmosphere. Is the queen of basketball feelings okay? It just I
Sure.
went for it and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, if you'd like to use that moniker, that's all right. I'm all right with that.
Okay. Second important question for me. Either you have like a very cool Zoom background or you are in like a winter getaway. Is it okay, without giving away your location?
I'm just north of the city. I'm north of the city for like a determinate amount of time, just basically holed up in the woods.
Oh, that's nice.
That sounds really nice. Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's like a less depressing window to stare out of when that's all I'm really doing at home.
Yeah. As someone who definitely, I realized the other day that I took a picture of the graphic sunrises or Toronto sunrise and sunsets. I was like, I think I'm keeping a bit too much like track of this right now. Like I know that this recording is going to go through the sunset, and I'm so sorry to both of you.
No, honestly, I was thinking the same thing because you can see the sunset down here, and I was like, I hope it's not a good one. What can I do about it?
You know what? It's going to be a cloudy one. We're okay. Let's start.
As someone who wakes up at 5 p.m., I'm like, sunsets?
Yeah, fair enough. So you should get some sunsets. Oh wait, no, sorry, sunrise.
I guess sunrises. And
Those
then I
are
go
cool.
right to sleep.
Then you're like,
that's when you're like, you feel bad. You're like, oh, I did something bad, didn't I? I'm up too late. It doesn't feel as good, you know?
Yeah, I was drinking with a friend of the podcast, Roger Bainbridge, once, and it was like maybe like 5:30 or something. It was an early sunrise, but still, like the sun started coming, and I got like my like drunk happy vibes turned into like I was angry at myself, and I was like suspicious of everyone else, and I was like, whoa, this is scary. Like, and I am drunk. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna walk home still drunk in the sunrise, and like I'm freaked out. So.
Yeah.
Stay away from me is what I'm saying. If you see me very early in the morning, just give me some space. Freddie's hammered. If you see me early in the morning, I'm not doing something responsible. I am a givener. Okay. All right, let's talk some Raptors ball. I don't know where my head's at today, but it's going to be a good one. Maddie, if you got one of your beautiful Raptor stings, please, good sir, give it to me. Katie, I'm really getting Katie, let's go for it on Pascal Siakam. So yesterday against Phoenix, I think we saw a lot of what we've come fairly accustomed to seeing from Pascal Siakam, like athleticism, defense, like pep in his step, or maybe the missing swagger that Kyle was talking about. He just looked aggressive, and he also looked like he was sizing up people mid-game during the game, being like, you're too small for me, you're too slow for me. And it was kind of like, oh, here we go. This is the like learning machine, joyous person I fell in love with as a player. Do you think, not necessarily that Pascal's back, but do you think that game / his play, like, is there any reason for genuine optimism?
I think so. I mean, I think to me, what has felt like all along is missing with Pascal. Well, first, that win was weird. I mean, it was a loss, but that's what I mean. Like, it felt like the first not depressing or crushing loss of the season so far for the Raptors. And I think that's what made it feel like, oh, wait, they didn't win. They still lost. They're still on a streak. but it didn't feel so bad because they looked more recognizable to me. And I think all season, what's been weird with Pascal is seeing him play with such a lack of intention is like the best way I feel I can describe it. So any play he's making, whether he's like trying to like attack the paint, like he won't finish, right? Like his finishing's been pretty atrocious. He's been doing a lot of like weird ISO plays, I feel like, instead of just like the ball movement that I think always favors the Raptors, like generative offense a little bit better. His shot selection's been super weird, but then he's also had these bursts kind of, he's always had plateaus like as a player, but I think when he's developing, he's kept a cool head. He understands like the work that it's going to take to get better and to like reach the next kind of heights of his career. But with this season, seeing him foul out like twice, having to have like had him benched for one of those games, it just like, it doesn't seem like he's kind of holding himself in the same way. So that was a little bit worrying because it just felt like he was letting a lot of this get to him. And it felt like it was going beyond the floor. And it still might be like, because this was just one game. But that said, like I was kind of looking for anything. So I think in that game, it was sort of the glimmer of hope that I needed.
Yeah, me too. And we joked with Matt before we started recording. Just welcome to being like a Raptor fan. Like we're back to being like it wasn't a win, but check this out. And it's like so we're starting to have like, but back in the day, aka like a year ago, it's like we won by 15, but Norm didn't have the killer instinct I'm used to seeing from him. You know what I mean? It's like that was the level. So I think it is pretty shocking. And your point, Katie, is huge about like just the way you worded it, about him reaching plateaus and kind of, having a cool head, right? Because people are used to seeing players in year two, the sophomore slump, and they struggle, but then they overcome. And I think the league has put smaller guards on Pascal. They know he likes to do a couple spin moves. They also know the Raptors offense likes to drive and kick, and Pascal's often, he's going to be looking for a 3-point shooter. So all in all, it's just kind of become a bit predictable. And yeah, with him not being able to kind of like, this is going to sound corny, but like understand the process, like Norm's tagline. Like I think part of it is like understanding you're going to struggle and you're going to have like shooting woes, or like a guy like Danny Green is a good example of for me, of a player who's kind of like, this is what I do. I'm going to keep doing it. I am good. You can watch me miss a bunch of shots in a row, but you want me on the court because I'm good. Sorry, I just tacked on a bunch of like extra points, but Alan, how are you feeling about like, Raptors positivity, Pascal coming back?
Yeah, I think you both kind of nailed it when it comes down to it. I feel like we're back to silver lining basketball, watching these games and going, okay, what pieces of this can we take from it and be like, these are the positives and move on forward and kind of focus on them. Seeing Pascal in that last game was great because I think his confidence is coming back. I think I keep saying this and keep reiterating it. He's only been playing basketball for X amount of time and only that much in the professional side. And I think, Freddie, you kind of said it too as well. When it comes down to Pascal, if you've been playing basketball for not long, you have about 4 or 5 set moves and you keep doing them and they work at success. But those can only work if the defense isn't prepared for that. And the past about a year or two, defenses haven't been. But now they've kind of clued in. They've watched the game tape. They watched his footage. They know what he's going to do. So now what do you have to do? You have to be the type of player that has more tricks in your bag. When I do this and then do that, then I have to do this again. And I have to kind of readjust and kind of do that. And I think that all comes with time. I think we're going to see a lot more reps from him. We're going to see him kind of come into himself. And playing basketball, like I will always say this, my own experiences, playing basketball in an empty gym, playing basketball in unfamiliar territory, all this stuff to a new baller throws you off. You don't have the same type of things and things you can rely on and bounce back on. So I think this is a weird year for him. I think being the number one option now, I think not having those reps, being in a faraway land in Tampa where they, cheer for the opposing team while you're playing, all of that, all these different factors are going to affect a new baller. And I think he's going to have it. I think he's officially going to have it. And I think the last game shows signs that he will eventually get it.
Yeah, I think he nailed a lot of things, and I'm sure people will kind of do studies on it, but a couple years out of this, we'll be able to look at like, okay, why did, Jamal Murray thrive in the bubble and Pascal not? And, you know, like what does make someone tick as far as like the crowd vibes or, you know, the familiarity of a gym. Like, I think, yeah, I mean, you know, people talked about shooting being way better in the bubble because they were playing in these two same gyms every day, and they're, you know, their bodies, they can kind of train it like clockwork. And I think, to your point, what Pascal hasn't seen is many different basketball situations. And I was saying to my partner the other day, we're watching the game, it's just kind of like, you can see it in Pascal. You can see it's like, as someone, you know, who grew up playing soccer and basketball, you can see the parallels where it's like, when he's just free and playing, it's like, he's hard to stop because what he can do, like, he just lets the creativity come. But also being a number one, like you're saying, Alan, you do have to have like a bunch of tricks in your bag, and you have to understand how to manage a game and kind of like, you know, rope-a-dope people and not show them something for a quarter and then show them something else. Like, you have to be ahead of them. Let's stick with you, Alan. But this question is kind of like, I think I got to come out with some of my nurse like prickly stuff, because his vibes, I don't know, it's kind of bothering me a bit this year. Like, I'm not crazy about the tough love to like an assorted bag of a roster. Like, I don't think that's what's going to galvanize us in this moment. And I think he actually has to like extend his trust as a coach, as opposed to expecting it to be earned. And I think that hurt us in the playoffs with Boston, and not trusting Norm enough. You know, that sort of thing has residual effects, both positive and negative. And I think we're seeing some of the negative residuals when you don't trust people enough and when you don't put them in new situations. And sorry, I just feel like I had to come out with that, because the way I wrote the question was kind of like, who should Nurse like trust more? And he should trust people more. So I feel like I just want to say, I am having some issues with Nurse's lack of trust in who he's been given, because that's the job and that's what you got to do. With that said, who do you think on the bench actually does deserve that trust and should be playing significant minutes every game?
Alex Lynn. No, I'm joking. I think Malachi Flynn. I think we drafted this player because we were fearing of departure of Fred VanVleet. And so that means we have the mindset of this player can come at any point in time and pick up the ball and play. And we saw really good spurts of it in the preseason. And I think if there is a time to like experiment and put this guy in there and kind of, you know, do different type of rosters. And, you know, I think a seasoned player like Malachi Flynn is great. This guy was, you know, Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And I think the one thing that we're missing on this Raptor team is defense. I think we're defensively, like, we're playing good defense statistically, but as part of like when you're looking at it, there's something off with it. And I think it all comes down to floor generals. I think especially when Kyle Lowry's off and we have this other roster of guys out there, there's just no one who's, you know, pointing, hey, go there. Hey, go there. There's no talking going on. And it feels very like each person's in it for themselves. And it's not this organism that we used to have from before. And I think we had a lot of that from players like Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka was a great second unit floor generals, defensive floor general. Same thing. And I say this before, and people were like, what? But Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, you know, he didn't score, he didn't do anything like that, but he out there on the court, you could see that he, you know, he directed his players and he knew where everyone was, and he made sure when we got the ball, you know, we got that rebound, next play, you know. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think basketball is limiting your opponent to limited opportunities to score, and I think we haven't done that as a team. Even when we limit them, they're getting the rebound and they're just going on the next play. So I think, you know, giving another player that has that defensive minded thing, you know, because I think defense is an amazing thing. It's a beautiful art and it's a sweet science at the same time, because it's about feeling and it's about your intention and it's about effort. And I think if you have all three of those, it radiates, and then, you know, other players will pick it up. I think once they see another player like that going out there getting steals, guarding a guy 96 feet or 94 feet from the basket, I think that will kind of, you know, help other players get in the line, and maybe the Raptors can figure it out from that.
Oh man, hearing you talk about like defense as a sweet science and effort, and And it just made me miss Mark and Serge so much because like they're sweet science. They're sweet science together. You know what I mean? Like, and it was like when people would criticize Mark, I would just be like, you just don't know. He does a lot. He talks to everybody. That is big.
That's the one thing about players, especially who play soccer first. They have this also defensive soccer-minded kind of way where it's this like, we're an organism. We're working together. There's 3 passes that I have to do. I see my 2 options before I even get the ball. I know my positioning, pressure, cover, bounce. I move with the ball. I move when that guy moves. I know I have to move too. There's something about that out there, and I love watching soccer players in the NBA. They're so great. Great feet work too.
Yeah, like Mark was someone who definitely, I think, embodied the like, no, I'm making the pass because I'm supposed to. And someone's like, but you could shoot. And he's like, no, there's a way to do things. And like, that's kind of like having that regal, you know, I remember Zach Lowe referred to Mark as persnickety. And I was kind of like, I feel like that fits in a weird basketball only context way. But yeah, Katie, like, who do you think Nurse should trust more? Or do you, please, if you're like, well, no one's good enough, then that's fair too.
No, I think like to both of your points are really good and very telling of almost like what's wrong with the team, like the trust thing and the fact that I think a lot of the problems right now seem so isolative. Like every player is kind of looking inward and trying to fix themselves, whereas like they're not really looking to be like, all right, how do we kind of energize ourselves as a team, and how do we like buy back into this? You know what I mean? And I think you definitely miss Mark and Serge for that kind of thing. I think the saddest lineups for me, though I know he'd be like hard pressed to ever be pulled out of them, but there's like Lowry and like the bench and the weird iterations of the bench. Like those have been the saddest to watch. And I know it's because like, yeah, there isn't that second, like to Alan's point, like there isn't that second floor general. It shouldn't be Lowry all the time because it can't be. Like also this team won't grow and kind of form up its new identity, which is like, I thought the whole point of this sort of year, right? Is like handing it over to Fred, handing it over to Pascal. But it can't really do that if he's still the one sort of like calling all the shots all the time for like both rotations. So I think yes to Malachi, but I also think this, I was on this more when, and I'm still waiting to see like if Pascal's performance is consistent, but I was thinking about this more when it wasn't, is that I think you should trust Norm more. Cause like coming off the bench, Norm's not that great, but like starting Norm has actually proved to just like, he just takes it so seriously. You know, he's just like head down. He's like, okay, like it's next man up mentality. He's such like he talks about that like again and again as like being such a driving factor for his play. And I think when he's given those opportunities, he like just makes the most of them. He just kind of thrives in them. So I'd like to see that more. And I don't mean that that's like, oh, Pascal can never start again. But it's just like in the meantime, like Nurse always talks about like in his dream scenario, he wants like an eight man starting roster and everybody just kind of rotates in and out. But like to be able to do that, Freddie, to your point, he also has to trust, and I think to a degree, like be a little bit nicer to these guys. Like I'm with you. I don't really like the call outs. I think worked in past seasons because he did have a level of trust and accountability with players, but like with new guys, he doesn't have that yet. And if anything, like it seems to have not lit a fire under any of them. He's called out everybody. And to me, I'm also like, this is kind of also the first year that Nurse is going to have to prove his coaching prowess, really, because he wasn't handed a team with a superstar. He wasn't handed a team that was less one superstar, but still had like a title to its name and was more or less intact. And I think wanted to win even more than the year before. This was last year. And now this year, it's like, okay, wait a second. You know, like you've got 2 huge holes to fill. You haven't really figured out what you're going to do there yet. You have a lot of new guys, and the team is like going through some identity problems because of location or like a lot of chemistry issues, I think. And I think like him looking like he's just falling back on all the same sort of tactics and them not working. He looks almost a little bit like petulant to me right now, and I don't like it.
Yes, petulant is a great word because he has this like go with the flow like kind of attitude, but it's like, yeah, but you're looking like Phil Jackson in New York right now, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, what I've noticed like in scrums is either he'll be super jokey and like too cute, or he'll be very like stoic and like upset. And I don't like the transition and the trend. Like it used to make more sense why he would be like that. But right now it's like, there's no rhyme or reason as to which Nurse you get. And I don't really like the inconsistency. I don't think it like speaks very well to what's going on internally.
Yeah, like so many good points. I'm gonna try and like I want to go back to you for something else, Katie, but I just want to like first thank Matt for on this StreamYard thing. He's doing like these quotes, and yes, Blake Griffin did say to me and my brother Miguel that Nick Nurse was handed a Lamborghini, but Nick Nurse actually said that first, and I think to bring this back to Katie's point. He proved he could drive a Lamborghini. I think he also proved last year he could drive an Audi with a driver beside him in Kyle Lowry. But now he's got to drive like a Chevy or like you know what I mean? Like that 3-wheel van from Mr. Bean.
I don't think we should listen to Blake Griffin about cars. I feel like Blake Griffin, this is obvious Kia propaganda. This is him and works with Kia. I don't like it.
Oh my God, that's amazing. He's working on me to be like, yo, this guy actually might be a Kia candidate. Like he doesn't look like he'll ever earn that much. Like, let me just work my Kia angle here. To his brother, who was also there. But wait, Terrence Griffin? I don't know. I can't think of his brother's name. Taylor.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Katie. Just to go back to you, I forgot my other point, but that's because I got silly. No, I just want to ask about Baynes. Like, I'll put my hand up and say I'm pretty surprised at how bad he's been. Wondering,
I'm not.
You're not. Okay,
not at all. I'm not at all. As soon as I saw the name, I was like, not a fan. Not a fan of Baynes.
Never.
I thought we were getting defense, like, and a couple other things. I guess I thought that we were going to get some value, not like basically like he's hurting us when he's out there. And also, to your point about Pascal fouling out, I think that's a part of it. And OG and Pascal are stressed on D with no big to help them out. But yeah, Katie, what do you think like about like, from, Bobby and Masai's standpoint, like they seem to kind of openly be like acknowledging that they are going to trade for a big or get some length. Nurse made a comment about having only shooting guards to choose from. And I know I was just like bashing Nurse a bit, but the roster does seem more imbalanced than usual. Yeah. What are you thinking / hoping from them?
I mean, I kind of hope that their visibility perks up a little bit because like they've been sort of, to me, like invisible for considering like how present they were in the bubble, whether that was like on the court watching games, or it was just like them wandering around the Disney campus. Like they were really there. They were hands-on. I had a good feeling about this year. And then kind of ever since, I just feel in my gut that they were kind of taken really by surprise by Gasol and Serge walking. And then the recent kind of reporting that's come out that Serge was like, didn't want to be a second string to Gasol, that they sort of lowballed him in renegotiations, I feel like has added some weight to that argument to me. And I think them scrambling to just get like any big, like to get Baynes and Len. Also, I really want Len to like succeed because he said the saddest thing in one of his first availabilities, which was like, this was the best team he'd ever played for. And he was so excited. So I really want the best for him, but I have never liked Baynes very much at all, just watching him. And I think, when you replace Serge and Gasol with those two, they were just looking at size. It was such like a free for all for bigs this summer, like in free agency. I keep saying summer, but it was like 2 months ago, the fall.
Yeah, it was a basketball summer.
Yeah. But like, the Lakers scared everybody into like getting size and needing that, and like Mark and Serge were so much more nuanced than just like centers, like that wasn't really their role. Like Gasol did have like a galaxy brain when it comes to defense, and Serge was like an offensive threat, like he had the shot, like he could do a lot of plays, like other than just spacing the floor, like what he had with Kyle, what he had with OG, like he had different relationships you could kind of shift into with guys on the floor that like these guys don't have, either by virtue of them being new in the lineup, or just them being kind of like mercenary players who are that their job is to be sort of one-dimensional. It's just to be size. But Baynes can't. He only shoots threes and he doesn't make them, and he can't even catch. So I don't really know. Like it doesn't bode well. But that said, like I don't know what
the non-catch part is a whole level to Baynes.
It's like his hands are cement locked, and he just like
got mittens.
Yeah, it is. It's like it is. He's trying to play basketball with mittens on. And it's not working for him. But I don't know, because like I wasn't in on the Harden stuff. I'm only not mostly because I just don't think the team is even ready for a superstar. Like if you get a rental in a player like Harden, that's maybe a year or 2 years. One, you have to hope that Harden specifically would opt in. And then the team it's like not in a plug and play position like it was with Kawhi, where you could just get a superstar, add them to the roster and go. Like there's too many other underlying issues right now. So I don't really know what they need. I don't know if this is a case of being like, do you package a player like Pascal with Norm or something? But then I'm kind of like, well, why are you forfeiting what you said the future of this team was for a move? And then I'm also very sadly like, do you ask Lowry for his list of places he wants to land at the end of this season? Because any team could use him. And then do you really go into a rebuild situation? Because the team can't also be its next thing while still under Lowry, as much as it like breaks my heart to say that. But I hope there's a solution they can come to that doesn't involve Lowry leaving, because I never want that.
Oh God, me too. Well, and you say it with such sensitivity that I feel like it's understood. Yes, the bigs are a major issue. I don't think there's an easy solve. And I don't know if the answer is going to come internally either, but I feel like Bobby and Masai, and to your point, Katie, they are not really present, and it does seem kind of like the Raptors are hanging in the wind right now a little bit in Tampa. Alan,
like,
what
I also don't want to start like any unnecessary fires, but neither of them have also signed their new contract, so that doesn't make me feel great either.
Yes, I thought Bobby signed his. No,
I don't think he did, because he was in the process of still negotiating it before they moved to Tampa, because he was asked about it a bunch and he was like, well, the most important thing is the move. But then they moved, and then I don't believe they picked up on it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Alan, let me just say this. Just a quick aside to Katie's thing. Now is not the time to endorse like a cult of personality, but I'm all in on Masai. So, my non-panic is only because Masai's here and going to guide us through this. When he's not, I might need to take a bit of a break from the pod, because I think I'll be a lot more bleak. Yeah, that is concerning, and I think that concern is going to grow. Hopefully, we hear something soon, and we need bigs. Where are you at, Alan? On Bobby, Masai, kind of like how are they going to solve this like imbalance? I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Just to touch on that, I think I heard something. Once again, this is just hearsay because I don't know how this person has this source of information, but I think I heard that Bobby Webster was furious on what happened with the Serge Ibaka deal, and he's probably gonna walk, or he's thinking about walking. Like there's grumblings of that, so that's not a good thing to hear, and I choose not to believe it until it happens. As far as fixing the big situation, I was never like I don't know. I feel like this is almost hypocritical of myself because I'm not a huge fan of people who trash Aaron or players on your home team. So I'm going to be very critical of what he does. I just don't think taking Phoenix's trash is going to be a good idea to help your team win. I'm just going to say it. I don't think bringing in Tyson Chandler is going to fix this team. I don't think that's what we should have done. I think there are other bigs that do specific things better. I don't know. When I see Aaron Baynes out there, he seems like the type of player that's like a bully to his own teammates. He's like, I get 5 shots a game, and no matter what, I'm going to get my 5 shots. And those 5 shots, I don't care what happens on the court. I'm going to do it. I'm going to throw it up. I'm going to do whatever. And that's what he does. And you can see it. There's so many times where he catches the ball and he just shoots it immediately because he's like, no, I shoot now. This is what I do. Or he's in the post. And I do appreciate that post move more than I appreciate his three. Like I feel less excited than the JV3 than I do. Well, I feel more excited for the JV3 than I do for Aaron Baynes' open three-point shot. It just, the form looks up. It's a push. It's a leap. His whole mechanics are off. So I'm not excited about that. And Alex Len too. Like I think I have less anger towards him because Aaron Baynes always seemed like a bully to other people trying to hurt them, and he seems like kind of mean and spirited and pushing players where he doesn't have to. He feels like Steven Adams without all the Steven Adams flair. You know, he's just this kind of big, like kind of menacing presence, but he's not. He's an undersized big who doesn't have the length with his arms, and he doesn't also have the finesse to kind of do the different passes that Steven Adams does as well. So never been excited for him. I think Boucher should probably be starting, especially for a confidence thing. I think we should. I know he's going to get bodied. But I think he needs to learn. And I think this is an opportunity where he can kind of get those reps in as a stretch five in this league. I think there's one more move that we need to make. I've been saying this from the beginning. I think there's some type of flip that we need to do to get a big in here, because I think those rebounds. I think what are we 27th in like giving up what was it? I forgot the stat, but we're very bad.
27. It was 27th. Yeah, we were 27th at rebounds.
Yeah,
maybe 24th now, but it's still shit.
it's not great, and I think there's a disconnect between our bigs and our guards, and I think we need to find a way to kind of connect the two and have them on the same page and making sure that we don't give up these second chance opportunities, and we're grabbing the board as soon as the ball hits the backboard of the rim or something like that, and we're pushing on down there, and we have a big that stretches the floor on the offensive end and actually can shoot and gets the rebounds. And I don't know. I don't know why we didn't get like a player like Hassan Whiteside. Like, I know for what Hassan Whiteside does and who he is and his mentality, I think he makes up for it in size. You can't teach size, and he's a very specific big in which players think twice when they drive. They go, well, there is a lurking giant man who likes to foul and likes to block shots. So you know what? I might not drive right now. I might kick it out there. And that little hyper second of thinking changes an entire course of a game. And I think having someone like that who got $2 million as opposed to, I think we gave Baynes like 5 or 7. I'm like, oh man, I feel like we really dropped the ball as far as the replacement guys. And it's tough because we're going to have to watch that for an entire season. So I don't know. I think it's just once we lost the Giannis sweepstakes, we have to look and be more aggressive in the season as far as trades. And I think I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you who, but there's definitely somebody that we need to bring in the center. And I know I don't know. I feel bad once again because he's wearing a Raptor jersey, but I'm not sold on Baynes, and I'm not sold on the Aaron Baynes fan club. I blocked that person years ago. I was like, I hate this account. This is just Brian Scalabrine jokes. Right? I don't want to watch that. I don't know why we brought that person in. I'm just.
I don't like it either, but I'm so glad that you said that because you're the only person. I've felt this whole time. I've been like, am I the crazy one? But like, I'm also
okay.
like, who are you? I don't like these jokes.
You just drove a stake in the heart of this podcast because that Twitter thread's way bigger than this pod, and we're dead. They're gonna come after us. They're gonna squash us.
You gotta prepare for war. I'm sorry. Prepare for war, everybody.
Also, shout out, like you just fully did like a Southern style, like bless her heart. It's like, oh, bless her heart. She's a moron. Like, because you had a nasty, like that Aaron Baynes insult, which is you're just a dressed down Steven Adams. Do you know how much that would hurt his feelings? Like that's probably what hurt his feelings like more than anything else. Like he probably looks at Steven Adams all the time being like, fuck, look at that hair. He's like the whole 2 inches taller, like he's stronger for sure. Like people
maybe
say
if I grow my beard too.
Oh wow. This is a fun time. Let's jump into some NBA stuff because I think there's a lot to wait and see on for the Raptors, and it's going to be a busy season. It seems. I think we can all agree on connectivity issues and kind of Katie, you worded it really well, where it's like we're in this weird kind of like oxymoron season where it's like, okay, Kyle, pass the torch. but like hold it the whole time and show us the way. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but at some point we're gonna have to give it to the guys, and they're gonna have to like make their way through the dark hallway. If Kyle, if that's gonna successfully happen. I hope it does, because I think the alternative is trying to find a brand new culture, which would be, took us 25 years to get to the point where we had a good culture, and it was championship friendly, and a guy like Kawhi could join in. Like you were saying, Harden can't really. Sorry, Katie, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, fair enough. I thought I saw a hand raise, and I was like, "Whoa, Freddie!"
I was itching my back.
Share the
Sorry.
mic. Okay. Well, let's jump into some NBA stuff.
You're a great host, though, Freddie.
Thank you. That makes me feel good. And I'm gonna majestically. Oh, did I ruin something?
Can I go now?
Wait, hand raise.
Been up for hours.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Please, sir.
Misspelled
But
my
if
head.
you really do need to, like, by all means. Okay, let's jump into some NBA stuff. Maddie, please. I know you got some Adam Silver arriving at a ferry terminal or something. Please, whatever you got, give it to me.
This is Adam Silver.
People love it. When I walk down the street, people will drive by me and be like, "Adam Silver." I'm like, "Oh my god, you listen to the pod?" And they're like, no, just Matt's audio files. He put them up in a free library. They're sick. Let's go to you, Katie. Just a classic pod topic here. Who's the team with the record, or the team that's doing well that's surprising you the most?
The Knicks, I'm very happy for their fan base, and just for the franchise, I guess. And I think I'm very pleased to see the Sixers experiment working thus far. Doc Rivers also just looks like he's so well rested. So I'm very happy. Very happy for him. I think he really deserves this.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the Suns. In the West, I will say the Suns, because that experiment, which I don't think was an experiment as much as a given of like getting Chris Paul in there to yell at everybody and to organize everybody, is also working.
Oh man, and was that ever on display last night against the Suns? It's like we make that run, Chris Paul comes in and he's like, "Hey everyone, relax. We're gonna win this game." And it's like, oh, shit, they are. But what about you, Alan? Knicks. Let me just say with the Knicks, I always expect them to like trip over their own, like, I don't know, like kazoos or like I just expect something insane to happen for the Knicks. So even 3-3 or like general competency, and like the fact seeing Thibodeau on the bench, I'm like, oh wow. Mm-hmm. I know they just hired him, but I'm still surprised he's still there.
Like, I'm not saying it's going to last, but it's nice. It feels like refreshing for now.
Yeah, I agree. And I've said this before in the pod, but the Knicks are the one like big city team who I've actually given a pass at this point. Like, I'm like, you guys have suffered enough. Like, if you do, I'd be okay with you being good until it got annoying again, obviously. Alan, who's your surprise team?
I think Katie nailed it. I think just watching the Knicks' success this year has just been. I don't know if anyone here has seen Wonder Woman 84, but there's this device movie, where you wish for something, but it takes away from someone else, and I feel like it's an Atlantic Division kind of thing where somebody voted like, I want the Knicks to be good, and then the Raptors just lost all their like Space Jam mojo, and it went into this ball in New York where Julius Randle's just sucking on it every day and getting better and better and putting up triple doubles. But yeah, I'm happy for them. I think that fan base has been through a lot. They've been to the ringer for so long, and it's unfortunate that it happened on James Dolan on his watch, because I wanted them to do so bad that he got fired, because that would be the best thing for them as far as anything.
It would be great.
Yeah, it'd be a brand new day. Like, I don't know, there would be no pollution in New York at all. Like, the streets would be cleaner, I feel like, as soon as he's gone, for some reason. But yeah, I think watching the Knicks success is crazy. I think the Phoenix Suns success is crazy. Also, shout out to the Sacramento Kings. They're like 500 right now, playing decent basketball. But I think it's fun to watch Tyrese Halliburton out there and, see how explosive that kid is. I think watching
He was your rookie of the year guy, right?
Huh?
Well, was he your rookie of the year guy? I feel like you said.
My rookie of the year has been moved around. Like, I've been playing what's that game? Roulette. Like, I was Tyrese Halliburton was one of my big sleepers, and also Obi Toppin. And Obi Toppin hasn't been given the minutes that he had because I think he's got like a stress thing going on in his knee. So, or maybe he's just not getting the minutes. But Obi Toppin, Tyrese, and Melo was my safe, sexy pick. But I think Tyrese has been putting on a show, and I think he's been doing great as a backup to De'Aaron Fox. It's just I think it's so early in the season, and seeing the Phoenix Suns to the top of the Western Conference, I'm like, oh, what year is this? 1992. It's great to see. I'm happy for them. I think the Phoenix franchise, could use a win after so long. I think the last time they were like really, really, or just decent were like the Steve Nash years. So good on them.
Yeah, totally. They're not the team I was going to throw in there. They're not like a top of the conference, but I think maybe people just don't care about the Indiana Pacers. But I'm kind of happy for Nate Bjorkgren and I also feel like Oladipo got a lot of he just got people didn't talk about him in a nice way this offseason, and I guess he did try and go somewhere else. But it seems like they have what the Raptors don't have right now. Like they're I've watched a couple, just I think they're a fun league passing. Like they really are playing differently. Everyone seems like they're having fun. They have a bunch of really likable players. And I think they're a team that even if they're deserving, will never get the analyst love. People will never be like, they're going to be top 4 in the East. And they could very much be top 4 in the East. I think I had them at 5th. And people were like, really? The Pacers? I'm like, yeah, they're pretty good. Sorry, Alan?
They're that middle team that always makes the playoffs, but doesn't make a huge splash when it comes to the playoffs. So I think everyone always writes them off because it's like, this is unsexy basketball. I don't want to watch them, win 47 games. I feel like we always write them off, but I feel like they're doing great stuff out there, especially with Depot and I keep forgetting Sabonis. Sabonis is putting on a clinic this year.
And to be fair, I do believe Indiana is the least sexy place in the world. So,
have you heard of French Lick, Indiana? Sexy as hell. French Lick? What does that mean? That's sexy, right?
Right. The show Erie, Indiana wasn't, but it was probably. I should have watched it. You know what I mean? But I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark instead. And Goosebumps. But I don't know why that name stuck in my head for a show I never watched. But Alan, let's stick with you. What's my last question here? The NBA experience right now, watching the game, it's not like the bubble. I think a lot of people have touched on this. The bubble had a lot going on. Obviously, the Black Lives Matter movement, kind of happening with all these players centralized there. There was a community, a camaraderie. There was a vibe that was all its own and unique and powerful and awesome. And I think this is I don't want to say it's the opposite, because people are doing their best and trying to make it good. But, seeing fans in stands is weird. As a Raptor fan, I know this is an NBA segment, but, having all these people who don't care about your team or are actively rooting against it, it's wait, what? Yeah. This is extra bad. That can't happen. And yeah, I mean, Boston hung their banners behind the rim, which I thought looked cool. I'm hoping as the year goes along, teams and franchises are going to try and add stuff to just make it more appealing and fun. Alan, what's something you think that could maybe improve the in-game experience? And if it's not technically possible for whatever specific reason, we'll just imagine it,
Yeah. Yeah, I think you touched on it. I think the bubble games felt different because it felt like a stage as opposed to an empty arena. And these games feel like an empty arena. I can't remember which team it was, but they had this like a jumbo thing behind the bench, and they had like different things for the team and like go team and all this different stuff. I'm like, yeah, add more elements of that and incorporate it to make it feel like when I'm watching it, I'm watching specifically this game, and my eyes don't wander to go like, wow, this is an empty stadium. Like I don't like get that feeling from it. It pulls away for a little bit. So I think incorporating more digital elements around it, maybe some fake fans or whatever, or something fun that can keep me engaged or keep the viewer engaged with their eyes on what they can see. I do appreciate the real cam in certain arenas. I think that's fun to watch kind of that. I think a new way to watch the game would be kind of cool. So I think, yeah. I think,
like, is that the sideline one?
Yeah, the one that just the little track guy. I think that's cool. I think I think as we go more into the future of sports and sports viewing and trying to engage the younger people, I think there's different things that we can try. I think maybe why not try a 2K cam? Let's try a real thing up top. Like NFL has that sometimes for certain plays where they just follow a player and track them. If we had something like that where it just goes back and forth and you can watch it on a separate stream where you get like, oh, cool. I get to see from the point guard's perspective. I get to see all these different kind of cuts and movements. And, every time there's a rebound, it flips and whatnot, or even some virtual games. I think Hulu attempted something like that where it's like this VR kind of game where you get this courtside seat and you're right there and you get to watch the game. I'm like, yeah, why not? Try that. If there's a year where you could try to get as much money from the fans and you can't get to the fans, try different things. Just throw it at the wall, see what sticks. This is going to be the synthetic basketball year of NBA. Let's just try it. Let's see what happens. Like I'm out there. I can't go to these games. So give me new ways to experience it and not a worse experience than my previous one.
You hear that, NBA? Let this man spend his money on you and just give him new ways. That's what we need.
I just want to spend it.
It does seem like this year, and you hit it with the being on a stage to being an empty arena. Like I could say it better. And it does seem like they're like, okay, but check this out. We're gonna have a play-in, and until then, you can just bet on every single game and every single quarter. And it's like, okay, the betting thing's something, but like that's not for everyone. So like I'm appreciating how hard you're pushing the like betting on games and that kind of thing. But yeah, and sorry, before I go to you, Katie, just with the tracking cam, did anyone see, Matt, you have to check this out if you haven't seen it. Luka is like really tired in the bubble and he like leans down. And
it hits him or almost hits him.
It almost hits him. Like, what even scares me more is like it almost, I don't know how sharp it is, but like it almost went over his fingers. And I'm like, oh my God, the most like, a potential future of the league offensive dynamo almost got his fingers cut off by your like tracking cam. That would be, that might be this like one of the stories of the year. Like, and just so you know, I'm not like totally insane and these things can happen. Google Enrique Iglesias almost cuts his finger off by a drone in his own concert.
Oh my God.
Just Google it. Don't like look at it. It's nasty. But he's tough. He finished the concert. He like basically tried to grab the drone and be like, you can take my breath away. But basically was like took his finger off almost. Anyhow, Katie, do you think that the NBA could improve the in-game experience without like Enrique Iglesias?
This is so boring, but I wonder honestly if a lot of the game ops teams, like for game ops, or every team has had their budget like cut for this year based on how little it seems like teams are doing. That boring thing aside, I'm a big fan of the mic'd up component of the game. So I wouldn't mind if they mic someone up all game long, or maybe mic up multiple people from either team and just have them mic'd up for the whole thing. But maybe it's like you can tune in to a separate stream where you like you just listen to it. So you're watching, but you tune into the mic'd up stream somewhere else online. And you can listen to like the audio overlay of them mostly probably just swearing at each other. So maybe it needs like an age thing, like on like cannabis sites or whatever, like you gotta correctly sign in.
I love that. I feel like there should be an X-rated version that adults like. We can handle it. We know they're swearing their heads off out there. Like if you've ever
I want to hear Carmelo say "fuck out of here" all the time.
Yeah.
yeah, like that's the thing. It's like it's swearing, but it's also just like, you know, part of sports and like grunting and like I think for those who enjoy that, they'd be super down. Both of you had kind of real answers. Mine was more so, and Matt, if you got a silly one, please throw it in. But mine was more so like I've just been obsessed with the concept of the Memphis Grizzly like doing a running bit. Like one year the Memphis Grizzly did all this wrestling based stuff, but it was like each time they showed up, like something would, like the storyline would continue. So I think we could have that with like the Raptors, the inflatables, just like a mascot storyline. Matt, sorry, like you put something in there. Matt says he wants an army of red pandas. So multiple red pandas, that would be great. But I feel like the only way to do that is like a house of mirrors, because like, she's her own thing. Like no one else can do that. Like it's pretty specific, and she's pretty good. And
what if some of the Raptors players, like someone has to try and do it? You know, like Lowry comes out, gets on the bike.
We don't need injuries to like add to the mix of this year's uncertainty.
Like, Lowry, get on the bike, learn the thing, then teach it to everyone else. I know it's a lot like what you already do, but sorry. We take the charges too. Okay, let's. I think we're there. Let's move on to some quickish questions. How does that sound? You buddies want to do some quickish questions?
Yes, sounds good.
I keep setting myself up for someone to be like, no. So, you know what?
No, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Okay, Maddie, please, good sir, give me that quickish question sting. Oh, you came in hard.
Quickish questions.
Wow. Heads up. Matt has been practicing his lip syncing abilities.
RuPaul's back.
By the way,
I'm on the pork and chop or whatever.
That
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. Wait to find out. The pork chop.
Yeah,
Okay, I don't even know who that
from
is yet.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
I just quick shout out to RuPaul, because when the pandemic first hit, that new season came out, and then the Canadian season came out, and like that helped me buy a lot of time. You know, because like it was basically that, The Last Dance, and then that, you know,
Tiger King.
Oh, we had Tiger King.
That was the start. That was
the start.
That was like day one. We're all, you know, doing chip brackets and chocolate bar brackets and watching Tiger King.
And here we are with Bridgerton. Okay. All right.
I binged that whole series. I don't know, man. I don't know why I did it.
Caitlin binged it, and then I was
yeah.
and I kept being like, fucking Bridgerton, man. But I watched it. Okay, let's do some quickish questions. I'm anticipating some Bridgerton-based questions, so get ready for that. Maddie, I was going to get you to give me the quickish question sting again. We did that. But here is the rules. No stalling. Answer as quick as you can. That's basically the only rule. I'm going to stutter. I'm going to slur. I might panic because the sentence is too long. That's okay. You have to answer as quickly and concisely as possible, no matter what. Are we ready?
Fair.
Awesome. Let's do Katie, Alan, Matt. Okay. Katie, what happened? Quick to ask, but probably too broad to get a quick response.
What?
Someone's just asking what happened.
Oh, I thought you were getting into it. Life, man.
Life.
Yep. That's a perfect answer. Alan, who would win one-on-one, Baynes or Len?
Len. I think Len would win one-on-one, and I think Lady Whistledown would write about it in her letters about how Len beat what's his name, Baynes over there.
Lady Whistle reference. Cheers. Matt.
Yeah.
What is Nick Nurse's favorite R. Kelly song?
Wow.
And I guess what I'm asking is, do you know any R. Kelly song?
Yeah, I know some from the first album because I saw them when they first started out. I'm gonna say the one about John Lennon in '67.
Wow, that could be a
called
fully made up answer. I don't know.
No, it's the president of Venezuela. What was that guy's name?
Hugo Chavez.
That's what it's called. Hugo Chavez. That might be a different song. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But they do have a song called Hugo Chavez, and he loves it.
R. Kelly coming in with a lot of layers here. I really gotta investigate more. Katie, what is Nick? Oh, sorry. Whoops. Do you think Nick Nurse enjoyed the PC Decadent Pie? I don't know. Is he? You might be. Maybe he's advertising for them now.
Oh, because did he eat that on that stupid holiday? Maybe on that holiday show that they did that was sponsored by President's Choice.
Okay, yeah, I missed it. But I just assumed
it's like a giant cookie that's like a pie, from what I understand from the commercials. Yeah, he probably enjoyed it. Maybe a little too much.
Ooh. Alan, how important do you think the beginning of a season is to determine the rest of a season?
I think it sets the pace for what's going forward, but you could change it over time and have a different end point from your starting point. Much like Duke Simon Bassett when he decided to not have kids and then later on kind of adjust it as things kept going on in Bridgerton.
Yeah, I'm glad he adjusted because the mechanics there were a bit shady.
You say you don't want kids? You want kids, man? Come on.
Come on now. You're just scared. Katie. Is it Katie or Matt?
It's Matt.
It's Matt.
So am I just skipping Matt? Matt. If they make a move for rebounding help, who do you think they should target?
Rebounding help. I'm going to say it until I've said it many times on this podcast. We got the wrong Aussie on there. We need the New Zealander. We need a Steven Adams. Bring him on, mate.
Hey, man, if Baynes listens to this pod, he is going to be deeply hurt.
I like that accent. I just want it from a different guy.
Cheers. Katie. Well, you know what? This is the last question, so this is going to be an all play.
Whoa.
But first one goes to Katie. Why does Aaron, as in Aaron Baynes, only have one A in his name? It's a silly question, so you know.
Aaron, mate. If you say it like Aaron, mate.
Aaron.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? If you say it like that, who? Aaron, mate.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Alan, why does Aaron, mate, only have one A?
Because he's different, unique, and special, you know? Much like Penelope Featherton from Bridgerton.
Oh, wow.
Another hot.
Honestly, I just want to keep going. How many of these you got? This is hype.
I think I'm out.
I'm like, wow, I watched that show too. And I'm like, wow, man, there's a lot of Bridgertons. Like, this is crazy. Okay, Matt, same thing. Why only one A in Aaron Baynes?
I think it's because his name isn't actually Aaron. He is Aaron. He's Ron. And
he's a guy named Ron. You're right.
He's Aaron. Have you seen how much meat that dude puts on the Barbie? It's insane.
I had it. Whoa, that reference came out of nowhere.
I saw a video.
Like a just Barbie exclusive.
He
like
just was
Barbie-
like, "Here's a full boar. Here's a full cow." Like,
oh,
beef
wow.
cheeks. He loves his beef cheeks.
I mean, cheers. He's cooking up stuff he loves, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Baynes, mate, barbecue master. That's the end of Quickish Questions. That's the end of the pod. We made it. Thank you all for listening. Share, subscribe, follow these amazing people online. Katie, I'll go to you first. Is there anything? I mean, you always got stuff going on, but is there anything that's coming out soon you feel like plugging?
Yeah, I just started a new column. It's an NBA advice column on Dime, so it's called Not Bad Advice NBA. The first column went out this week. I answered 4 questions. If you'd like to ask, wow, if you'd like me to answer your question, you can email Ann, ANN, LandryFields@gmail.com. And I'll get it in one of those columns. I think it might be weekly if the questions keep coming in, and they are. But if not, maybe bi-monthly. But you can check it out. It's like very emotional. There's some X's and O's. There's also a lot of Cold War references in this one. When I was looking at the Spurs, the history of the Spurs offensive system, it's very involved.
Cool. Well, I mean, whoever's listening to this, definitely email Katie your questions. You will get like a full, amazing, awesome answer that but first I have to just ask, Ann Landry Fields.
Yes.
Now, is there a pun going on there with the Landry Fields that Raptors fans know, or is this just like, hey?
Well, Ann Landry, the advice columnist, I would hope, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, I do now. I remember.
So that's why.
Yeah,
and the Landry Fields.
Oh.
Listen, low bar here for me. That's not for the listeners. You should have got that reference right away. But for me, you got to explain things like sometimes a bunch. That's all right. Ann Landry, now I know. Alan, what's up? I mean, everyone, should watch the Canadian Baking Show. It's a great show. I think you're going to crush it.
Not this season.
Is that out?
Yeah, when is it?
When is it out?
So it drops Valentine's Day. So look for that Sunday at 8:00. I want to say. Watch the Great Canadian Baking Show, new season.
Well, that wasn't fair to me then, because I'm like, I can't be like, hey, everyone, check out Alan in 2 months. So yeah,
other stuff. Yeah, other stuff is friend of the pod. Freddie's been on it. We have Below the Hardwoods, a pod that I do with these guys. I've been doing for a couple of years now. We've put some stuff on our new site, Press. So a lot of writings. We actually have another podcast under our banner. Will Strickland is on there. So he's got his own little solo pod there. Not little, I shouldn't say that. That's kind of rude. No, he's got his pod on there too. So check that out. The dude's a wordsmith. So check. That's great. Also, yeah, if you want to watch me play video games, go to twitch.tv/Shoeless Lewis, and you can just watch me play. One time I was playing, there's this one guy he was just in the comment section, just typing away. We had a full hour dialogue. It was fun. It was like 3:00 in the morning. He was just like, yeah, what's going on in Toronto, Canada? I was like, all right, I'll tell you what's going on up here. Nicest dude, San Antonio Spurs fan. So I think I'll send him over to Katie's blog.
Shoeless Lewis, check it out. And Alan, I feel like we're well past the point where people there's meaningful connections online all the time. I think didn't Travis Scott have like a concert on a Fortnite game?
Yeah.
Sorry, I sound like I'm Jack Armstrong right now. Snoop Dogg? Hello, what the heck? Who's that? Snoop? When he said "Who's that, Snoop?" I was like, "Pardon me." Yes, it's Snoop Dogg. And is there another Snoop?
That's Snoop Lion. That guy's cool too.
Snoop Lion. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about his reggae face. But yeah, we've made it to the end of the pod. All the good stuff. Share, subscribe. Thank you for everyone who does. And the podcast has been growing a lot recently, so appreciate that. And yeah, Matt, if you feel like we're good to go, please just give me the words okay.
Okay.
Okay, Matt has left us.
I'm still here.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network. Sonar!